This is Professor Tommy Demos, and today I will be demonstrating light whips. We're going to go to Open Project. We're going to go to your hard drive, MDC, DIG, DIG, HCCAE, exercise files. This is Chapter 6, Light Whips. Hit Open. If you ever want to know how it's supposed to look, sort of, it may not look exactly like this. We're trying to do something like that. It's a light whip, and if we look at the start, we'll see the difference. So we don't have these patterns of lines, and that's what we want to add here. So the first step to create the patterns of lines, right-click, New Solid Layer, and we're going to make that 1280 by 200. We're going to hit OK. So all we have is a horizontal white rectangle right now. There's a very versatile effect called the fractal noise effect. You can use it to create steam, clouds, and in this case, light whips, which are, patterned lines that curve. So we'll use fractal noise and drag that on top of the white solid, and we get a bunch of clouds. We need to change a bunch of the parameters of the fractal noise effect. The first one that we're going to change is the contrast to 600. So notice how the black and white relate to each other now. If I change the contrast to 600, now the black is blacker and the white is whiter. There's less gray. So we are eliminating the midtones, essentially. We're going to change the brightness to -150 to eliminate even more of the white areas so that there's less white. And the complexity, we're going to drop to 2, which makes them globier, less cloud-like. In the transform area, we're going to uncheck uniform scaling, which allows us to change X and Y scaling independently. And we're going to take the scale width value to 6,000. And notice that the highest value that you can scrub to is 600. But if you type in 6,000 manually, it allows you to do that. The scale height, we're going to change to 5. What that did is create what appears to be random horizontal white lines that have varying degrees of whiteness. So some of them are more gray and some are more pure white. So that's your first step. Now we need to curve this thing. So the default way to add some curve to something is with the warp effect. So we're going to grab warp and throw that on top of the white solid, and we create this rainbowish shape. We're going to go to the effect controls for warp now and change the bend value, which is currently 50, to -50, which inverts the curve. We're going to change the horizontal distortion to 50, and we're going to change vertical distortion to -13. And now we have this sort of perspective arc that looks like it's coming from the Z space in the background. Finally, we're going to add the fast blur effect. Notice that it says obsolete there too. If this ever goes away, you'll probably be able to use the CC radial fast blur. I'm going to add fast blur. And then I'm going to change the value of the fast blur to 6. And you can see what happened there. It blurred the white lines. We're still not done. The most important thing that we have to do is change the blend mode of the layer. And we have to reposition it in the stacking order. So there happens to be an adjustment layer here that has some stuff done to it. So we're going to take that white solid layer and drag it below the adjustment layer. And then we're going to change the blend mode to a bunch of different things to see what happens. So to change the blend mode, if you don't see blend modes, if you see switches, you're looking at these: motion blur switch, 3D layer switch, adjustment layer switch, and so forth. Click on toggle switches and modes at the bottom. Can you see that? Can't see that. Can you see it now? See that right there? You're going to click that to get to the switches mode. Then you can change this white solid to all kinds of different ideas, like screen, for example, and it changes how it interacts with the image. So you can just cycle through these until you find one you like. Not that one. Not that one either. I would say anything in this add category is going to look good. That one looks very nice. Okay, so that's all you have to do is add that light whip. And once it looks like that, you're ready. File, save as, hard drive, MDC, DIG, in-class exercise. This is number 8. E8. This is called light whips. Hit save. Guess what? File, export, add to render queue. Change lossless, format options, change to Apple ProRes 422 proxy, hit OK. Hit OK again. Output 2, choose light whips, save, render.